Good morning, everyone. This is Danny Hafen. I am an amateur color caster and analyst, and I will be casting the 5-game series between Flash Wars and Gambit Esports this morning. So I am watching it live without the noise on, and will be sharing my opinions on how and why teams are winning, / what they have to do to win with their team comps and strategies. So, there has been 28 games already this MSI, and there's been a multitude of picks and bans and strategies, and Gambit has won a fair number of their games through the manipulation of globals and semi-globals, where Flash Wolves, we have yet to see them at MSI. This is going to be their first game, their first series, and we're not exactly sure what they're going to bring out, but the Flash Wolves have had presence in the last few international tournaments, though they have not performed as well as they have, say, 3 or 4 years back. They are still able to take games off the best regions, and should be a very big challenge for Gambit Esports. So right now they're introducing the teams, and I'm going to take this time to talk about the 4 biggest picks in each role that I think will happen in this series, picks / bans. So in the top lane, I believe that Gangplank, Shen, Orin, and Camille will be the most picked banned contested. In jungle, I suspect Olaf, Trundle, Skarner, and Kha'Zix. Well, sorry, not Skarner. Skarner's out of the box. He's gone. I suspect it actually to be Graves, based off the performance he had yesterday. Then in the mid lane, I suspect that we will see Karma, Vladimir, Azir, and Cassiopeia. In the bot lane, Kasai, Caitlyn, Xayah, and Jhin. And support, I suspect to see plenty of Alistar, Rakan, Morgana. Who's my last one that I had? Braum, of course. Braum with his big beefy shield. So why do I think these picks will be prevalent? Well, because they've been prevalent so far in the tournament, and the strategies used by them have worked. Shen and Gangplank have their globals. Shen counters Orin. Orin's just a very safe, easy, engaged top lane tank who loves building the banner of command that punishes any other tank up there. And then Camille is that counter to the Gangplank and some of the less beefy tanks, and that's why she's been banned so much. In the jungle, Trundle has almost 100% pick ban presence so far this tournament in the 28 games played. And he counters quite hard Skarner, Olaf, Sejuani, and Zac, but can be punished early by the Kha'Zix and the Graves. Oh, we're already into pick bans, so I'll start trying to predict what is being picked and why, and so on and so forth. So Anivia being banned is because it's Kira's pocket pick, and it also stops quite effectively Olaf, Skarner, and Sion as a tank. Now, Skarner is a jungler I mentioned, but I didn't expect him to be so prevalent. He hasn't had as much success as I would hope. There's the Gangplank I was talking about, expecting him to be in the pick bans. So far this tournament, 1 game lost, if I'm not mistaken. And that was when Camille went unbanned and took over the game. So Kasai is a very common ban for red side and will probably be Gambit Esports' next ban. And I'm suspecting a Rakan first pick based off how this pick ban phase has been going so far. I'm surprised about the Ezreal ban, but it is early game champion that could allow Gambit Esports to snowball on the Flash Wolves. So, what is up to be grabbed? Camille and Trundle would be my two picks here, because Camille has no hard counters right now versus her, and Trundle is a very effective jungler. The Kasai, with it being left up, that makes sense, but I'm wondering if the Flash Wolves have not been seen so far this tournament, if they have something special prepared that nobody knows about yet. Alright, so I suspect AD carry and a jungler to be picked here. The Lovers duo would make sense. It's very strong. And what jungler would be most prevalent? Graves is really good versus the Banner of Commands that have been coming out, but I've also talked about how Kha'Zix can punish the Trundle early, but it's much harder to use effectively late game. Alright, Flash Wolves have the superior early game comp, very effective right now with the Rakan, Xayah, and Kha'Zix. Braum is harder to make work with the Kasai, Kaisa, however you want to pronounce her name. I would prefer harder engage, but they banned their own Alistar, so they'll just go with the Braum. Okay, are they going to target Sword Art or are they going to target Maple? Those two champions, those two players have so much experience internationally and in their own region, dominating for years. That's very interesting. Galio has had one game, I believe, played so far this MSI, and it was played by Gambit Esports in the very first game versus Ascension, which they used to great effect with its global pressure to control the side lanes. If they're going to ban Orin, I suspect a Camille ban as well, because but maybe I'm crazy. If Camille is banned, one of the picks that is available is either Swain or Vladimir. They do very similar things, and both can be flexed from mid to top. So we'll see if that happens. I'm surprised about the Karthus ban. That doesn't really work unless you bring in the Nocturne jungle. But I guess they just said, we haven't played against that in forever and ever, and we don't want to deal with that Gouda. Now, I am shocked that Maokai was picked when there were other tanks and bruisers available. And I really do like this Cho'Gath because of its Feast to deal with the Banner of Command. They have Feast, they have the AD carry, and they have Kha'Zix physical damage. Banner of Command will not be very effective for Gambit Esports this game. So yeah, the Flash Wolves have all in on the early game between Karma, Kha'Zix, Rakan, and Xayah. The Cho'Gath does have some late game strength, and I would be... Yeah, the Zoe... I don't like the Zoe in this comp. I'd much prefer something more... less Feast or Famine. And Cassiopeia is a good champion for avoiding the Feast and Famine. She will always have an extremely strong late game. So, Cassiopeia, Kaisa. Extreme late game damage from the two of them. Very strong at taking down tanks, taking down anything in their way if they can get to those end game power spikes. Will they get there? Will they be able to deal with the pressure a Cho'Gath will put on Maokai as the game progresses? I expected more from Gambit Esports in the early game draft and less from Flash Wolf, so I'm sort of shocked. It's like the roles have been reversed in my mind. So I want to focus right now on the expected builds. Kaisa, let's focus her first. She is the only source of effective physical damage in this game, unless Diamond procs on his Trundle goes Trinity Force or Tiamat of some sort. And so she will have to deal, and Trundle as well, will have to deal with the Banner of Command minions that I suspect will come out since they have a Karma and a Cho'Gath. Both can build that quite effectively and punish their lane opponents with that item. So if Kaisa is going to go heavy into the physical damage, I suspect Gunsun's Rage Blade into Death's Dance, Mercurial Scimitar, because there is so much CC from the Flash Wolves. They will need that coming out. Edward on his Braum will build a Knight's Vow to help keep Kasai alive, while Diamond Procs will build the Zeke Convergence. Now both teams have an anti-tank champion in their midst. Cho'Gath's Feast, doing 6, 7, 800 true damage late game, really hurts a Braum or Maokai as they try to survive the front line of this team comp Flash Wolves have put together, where the only tank, Hanabi on Cho'Gath for Flash Wolves, will be the target of Diamond Prox's ultimate every single team fight, allowing him to be ripped to shreds, and with no effective escapes except Flash for Cho'Gath, it could be the turning point in these fights. Now, that was poorly done by Sword Art and Betty, disrespecting. The level 1 should be won by the Xayah and Rakan, but they didn't hit the CC. They got locked up by the Braum passive, and it's going to make their life difficult down there. Now, the whole reason that worked was Lodic and Edward got close enough together to proc the Guardian passive, giving Lodic the move speed to get out of the CC. If that had not happened, that fight could have been completely and totally turned on its head the other way. So what do I want to see happen because of this? I want to see Diamond Procs be allowed to get to level 6 as fast as possible and get tanky enough that Kha'Zix can't burst him. The pressure gain bottom will help that. And I want to see I would like to see an early purchase of, what is it called? You kill 100 minions, you get 100 bonus gold, 300 bonus gold, whatever that darn item's called. It's escaping my mind. I think it will be quite effective to get Kaisa to her late game state even faster, and because they have this huge advantage already, it will be less punishing to go and get that early buyback. Coal, that's what it's called. Already at 800 gold lead for Gambit Gaming versus the Flash Wolves. And let's talk about runes real fast, since we haven't had a chance to do that as I was talking about the bot lane for Gambit Gaming. We have Grasp of the Undying on Maokai for PvP Stehos, Press the Attack for Diamond procs, Phase Rush for Cassiopeia, Fleet Footwork for Kaisa, and Guardian, which was so effective earlier and here once again to save them from that all-in. All of those are pretty standard in professional and solo queue play. Oh, very nice prediction there by Edward, but it's cost him his life. So maybe he should have just looked for it instead of fought it. But I still think they're in a good place. The press the attack will be another factor for helping break down any tanks or front liners of the Flash Wolves, and the phase rush will allow Kira on Cassiopeia to keep her distance and her spacing as she tries to focus fire the primary targets. On Flash Wolf's side, I am seeing very standard runes for everybody. The only one I really want to touch on is Sword Art's Unsealed Spellbook. I am so happy that more and more Rakons are running that as we continue in this MSI tournament. We've seen summon Ari and Guardian, and both have their strengths and weaknesses, but Unsealed Spellbook is so effective by taking Cleanse in the mid to late game to ensure that engage. Other than a TP flank from Cho'Gath, Rakan is the only engage Flash Wolves has and must be successful, or it will be the death of them. I am really disappointed in Lodic with Kaisa right there. She bought tier 2 boots. The reason to buy tier 2 boots is to be able to dodge the engage, and yet she did not dodge it. So a little bit of miscommunication from the bot lane of Gambit Gaming. I hope that they are able to recover and win that lane, because I just think it's more exciting a tournament if we can have some pressure there from the newest AD carry in League of Legends. So items, anything interesting? We have a fair number of minion dematerializers from the Gambit Gaming, most of them sitting on PvP Stehos' Maokai. I hope he sits on the rest of those and only uses them for the expected Banner of Command out of Cho'Gath, because otherwise they are going to lose so much pressure in the 15 to 25 minute mark if he uses those now, and I don't know if it will allow Gambit Gaming to deal with the 1 item, 2 item power spikes of Flash Wolves with their more late game focused comp. Oh, that always hurts. Good job from the rookie jungler of the Flash Wolves, Mojin. He's not farming as much as Diamond procs, but where and what he has done, where he's been and what he's done has been effective and satisfactory. So, Gambit Gaming had a 800 gold lead at 4 minutes in. Now they have a 500 deficit at 9 minutes in. Not to mention this dragon that has just been taken. So, what they need to do to fix this, what they need to do to keep scaling up and to win those fights in the late game, they don't have effective engage for Gambit Esports except the flash snare from Maokai. Every other engage is iffy. I mean, you can have the flash ultimate from Cassiopeia, you can have the pillar get a lucky pick from Diamond Procs, but, well, Sword Art and Mojin both have dashes. Pillar's not effective against that. The Xayah has her ultimate to stop any hard engage from the Trundle or Braum. So, at this point, they are forced into the lose the minimum, scale up, and punish on the overdive from Flash Wolves. And I hope that they realize this and will play to that strategy. Oh, very nice ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Alright. First item power spikes should be coming on in about 2-3 minutes. And some things of note right now is Braum has finished his quest for getting Sightstone of wards, which is quite good. At sometimes when you're getting beat up, it's hard to get that by the 10-minute mark, but he has. It does not appear that Rakan has yet got that gold quest done, so it's affecting their ability to control completely the bot lane vision. But Mojin is supplementing wards and scanning, and so they have enough to be safe as they press Kaisa and Braum in at this time. So Cassiopeia is going for Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask was changed a number of patches ago to make the aura about the size of a Sunfire Cape's aura. So it is more for the defensive purposes, but I'm not sure if that's the best plan. Karma, later and later in the game, will do less and less damage with her magic damage. Cho'Gath has true damage from his ultimate, and so magic resist is less effective to deal with that. There is 3 melee champs, well, almost melee champs, with the Rakan, Kha'Zix, and Cho'Gath, and so those 3 champions will be punished by the aura when trying to attack Cassiopeia. But I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's effective enough to justify. Both the banners of commands from Cho'Gath and Maokai have been finished. We saw Maokai come mid lane to place his there, because if he had placed it top, Cho'Gath would have just feasted it and it would have been useless. So, interesting adaptation, but it didn't provide as much pressure as could have been hoped for. And PvP Stay Host only has 3 minion dematerializers left to keep the pressure equal in top lane. After that, Cho'Gath will slowly but surely overwhelm him and take towers. It appears that Cho'Gath is also going to build an Abyssal Mask, while Maokai, I suspect, the Adaptive Helm, because it cuts down so much on the damage from the Vorpal Spikes from Cho'Gath, though it could be the Spirit Visage to just keep his health higher, his regen up. So Gambit Gaming has lost the minimum these last 3-4 minutes, which makes me happy. They're 1,700 gold down compared to 900 gold down, so suffering a bit and losing another dragon, but they do have the late game comp, and they are suffering from the lack of hard engage that I described earlier. I want to see Gambit Gaming continue to play passive, continue to stop first brick from going down, and play the Baron dance. Flash Wolves have the Cho'Gath and have the Kha'Zix. That's a lot of single target damage and high secure. With that in their back pocket, I suspect that Flash Wolves will actually make a mistake and be overconfident in an early game Baron. Why would this will happen? Flash Wolves have not played on stage for over a month. This is their first game of MSI. And Gambit, they've already done 6 games. They've already dealt with the pressure and the environment. And I think they will be ready for that strategy to come out based off the team comp and the state of the game. We have Essence Reaver finished for Xayah and Ginsu's Rageblade for Kaisa. The Zeke's Convergence for Rakan and Archangels for Karma. Do I have any problems with the purchases for the boots department? Well, Cassiopeia can't buy boots. How dare she be in this discussion, but oh well. I don't think they can go for this with the lack of mana for Maokai, and yep, they back off. That's first brick for Flash Wolves. And that's just the Cho'Gath punishing Maokai. In my other videos, for some of the other games on the first and second day of the tournament, I talked multiple times about how I wanted to see more Cho'Gath, and I didn't understand why he was not being played. And this is what it was. His strength against the Banner of Command minions, his help to secure objectives. The only thing he doesn't bring is effective hard engage. He has to rely on a TP flank. So that's why some people might like the Orin more, but I do not like the Maokai pick. And I wish they would have picked the Camille, or they had picked the Orin to bring a little more versatility and less one-dimensional playstyle to their team comp. Now, I was talking about how fast Flash Wolves could do Baron earlier. I forgot to account that they have 2 mountains to let them do that Baron. They are at a point where Cho'Gath, Kha'Zix could 2-man Baron at 20 minutes and still kill it in about 30 seconds. Will they do that? Probably not. But could they? Yes. And could a play like that completely throw Gambit for a loop? Yes. Who got the better Gouda right now? Who will play to their win conditions better? I mentioned earlier, and the state of the game, how it feels right now, is Gambit Gaming's only chance of winning this is to punish the overdive from Flash Wolves. And Flash Wolves haven't showed those mistakes yet. They haven't done that. They are slowly going 1 turret, 2 turret, 3 turret. They're not trying to take 3 or 4 things at the same time. They go 1, 2, 3 and do it right. And I hate to say this, but it almost feels like this game is over already. Why I say that, I'm a Leona main. I'm a Diamond 3 Leona main, thousands of games, and I know the importance of hard engage. And right now, Gambit don't have it. And when you're playing from behind and you've been a team that have won almost every game that you played for the last 6 months, you forget how to play from behind, and you forget how hard it is to play from behind without hard engage. They just used Maokai's Flash to keep him alive on PvP Stay Host just a few moments ago. Without that, they don't have hard engage except for Kira's Flash Ultimate, which is so risky, and she doesn't have enough completed items to make that play work effectively. And so I hope in the next game, Gambit will bring more hard engage. They'll go for something different in support or different in the top lane that will give them less one-dimensional playstyle. Alright, interesting item pickups. We have the Righteous Glory on the Maokai. That's going to help their engage. Hopefully he can make it work. He still has 2 minion dematerializers to use to stop the bannered minions from Cho'Gath. The Zeke's Convergence is finished on the Trundle, so with there was that Righteous Glory trying to make the engage happen. It failed, and now they're going to have to wait a while before they get to make an attempt at that again. There's the Kha'Zix and Cho'Gath taking objectives together by themselves. It's the dragon, not the Baron, but still it's the principle that I was talking about. With Rapid Fire and Ginsu's Rageblade completed on Kaisa, the Zeke's Convergence from Trundle and his ultimate, they can very quickly burst down a single target. Oh, see right here? Cho'Gath is getting burned fast. With the subjugation from Trundle, he became super tanky, and there was the overdive from the Flash Wolves that I was talking about, that I was saying was Gambit's esports best chance at making a fight happen on their turn, making a fight go their way. So let's see, Summoners, Flash from Cho'Gath, and from Maple's Karma, and all the Summoner spells from Xayah and Rakan in the bot lane, compared to only the heal and ignite from Gambit Esports. That was so good for them. That destroyed the tempo of Flash Wolves. They need to make the hard engage on somebody other than Trundle. He is too tanky when he steals the stats from Cho'Gath. He is tankier than the Maokai when he steals the stats from Cho'Gath. And Karma's not bringing the damage. She brought a Ceres Embrace. That is not the damage that you would get from Luden's Echo. It is more survivability for herself, and Kha'Zix is early game champ in this meta. As it goes later and later, it will become harder and harder for him to assassinate somebody. With Cleanse being run by Kira on his Cassiopeia, it's hard for that CC to stick to allow Kha'Zix to burst the Cassiopeia. Trundle, he's not going to burst. Maokai, he's not going to burst. Braum, he's not going to burst. So he has one target, the Kaisa, to try to burst. Other than that, he has to just stay in the bushes and hope and pray for a pick or the perfect fight. So, Gambit can't make a fight happen, but if a fight is started by Flash Wolves in the non-ideal way, they will win it. And this looks like another example of that. The Cassiopeia and Kaisa single target damage is just ripping people to shreds. Flash Wolves, why are you trying to force these fights? You have the dragons, you have the secure for objectives with the Cho'Gath and the Kha'Zix, but you're grouping up and trying to fight. This is what I was talking about for the nerves of first game of the series, first game of the tournament for Flash Wolves. They just needed to continue to split up, divide, and conquer Gambit Esports instead of try to fight 1v1. Well, sorry, 5v5 in the mid lane. Now, what do I want to see by Gambit Esports now that they have the Baron? Well, I want them to just take those outer ring of turrets. I don't want them splitting up. It will be sad to not use Baron in as many lanes as possible, but their strength is in the 5v5. And right now, Flash Wolves have twice in a row shown that they're mentally not prepared for this and that they are grouping up and fighting. Group up 5 bot lane. Take 2 towers. Rotate mid. Get another tower there. I think that would be much more effective than splitting up in a 4-1. I don't know why they're in this particular grouping of a 4-1, though nobody can 1v1 Kira's Cassiopeia right now. She's too tanky, and she can't be CC'd locked because she still has cleanse up. So I guess there is some sense to that, though they're all rotating down to help him at this time, so that works well too. We have a full support Karma with Athene's and Holy Grail and Ardent Censer. That can make Xayah put out incredible DPS. But to do that, Xayah likes it when people dive on her because of the ability to pull back her feathers. The only person who dives is the Maokai and the Kaisa when she can get assassination. I don't know if at this time that will be as effective as Betty would like for a fighting strategy. Honestly, I would like Gambit Esports to back off here. They're not going to break this. Maybe they could break this tower. I don't think they're going to break this tower because there's not a cannon in that wave. And it would be better to secure the dragon and then... Oh, so close. I think it would have been better for them to secure the dragon. That way they don't have to deal with a 4-dragon Elder Drake later on in the game and a 3 Mountain Drake Baron take available for the Flash Wolves. If they get wiped here, that's what they're going to have to deal with the rest of the game. Even if they don't get wiped here, the fact that they're going to be low life and have to back is going to make them lose that dragon. That was greedy by Gambit. But after being punished for the first 25 minutes of the game, it's understandable when they get excited to try to break the base. Alright. Sword Art on his Rakan has switched to Cleanse. He did that quite a while back, and so I am glad that we have seen that strategy put into place, and we saw right there in that replay that without the Cleanse, Rakan would have been dead to rights, no doubt about it. So both teams are lacking in multiple forms of hard, safe, effective engage. Rakan is squishy, and Maokai can only make it work when he has both Flash and Righteous Glory up. Other than that, both teams are begging, hoping, pleading for picks. Will PvP Stahos use a minion dematerializer on this Bannered Creep? It looks like it's not his plan because there's not so much pressure he needs to deal with it that way right now. So I did not check this if it was planned purposely or not, but the Mountain Drake was taken at just the right time to force the next Drake to be an Elder Drake and not some other dragon. If it was a conscious choice to delay just momentarily to take that Mountain Drake to force the next Drake to be Elder, that was super smart planning by Flash Wolves. Because they're the only ones with dragons, because that they do not scale as hard as Gambit Esports, the sooner they get that Elder Drake available as a second major objective to take, to play around, the better for them. Especially because they have 3 freaking Mountain Drakes. It is going to make it so easy for Xayah to 1v1 the Elder Drake, or the Kha'Zix Cho'Gath to 2-man either the Baron or the Elder Drake. If they can just keep the pressure and keep the vision in the right places to stop Gambit from contesting those stealth missions. So Flash is up on the Maokai, but that Xayah is one of the hardest targets to go on. And I am not a play-by-play caster, but I do love these great team fights. And that was played beautifully by the Flash Wolves, and that will be a Baron, and that probably will cause the end of the game, be the beginning of the end for Gambit Esports. Maokai is not tanky enough with the items he has chosen to go for. Spirit Visage gives regen, not flat tankiness right now, right when you need it. It's for sustain, not for all-in team fight. The Righteous Glory is needed for their engage, but does not provide the tankiness that a Gargoyle Stoneplate does for somebody like Cho'Gath. And with the Ardent Sensor and the Zeke's Convergence and the 70% crit strike coming from the Zaya of Betty, you will rip through a Maokai. You will punish that champion quite severely. Oh, that was a beautiful TPE flank. Alright, the major damage source from Flash Wolves is down. They still have to deal with the potential steal from a Kha'Zix. They're very wisely waiting. They did it right. They waited, but they got impatient and they let him steal. This is a huge mental blow to Gambit, and I do not believe that they will be able to hold out for another 2 minutes. Elder is live. That's going to give them super minions in mid lane with Elder Drake, 4 Dragon Elder Drake and Baron for 2 minutes to punish Gambit Esports. What do I want to see next game? I want to see not Maokai. He's too generic, not effective enough. He's like a 75% effective in everything, but 75% effective in everything is not good enough to play when you need to be 90 to 100% effective in at least one thing to make your team comp work. Should have done the knock up instead of the snare to knock him out. The snare just lets him keep moving. There's that 2-man Elder Drake I was talking about because of the 3 Barons and the isolated damage from the Kha'Zix on targets. And at this point, Gambit have very few choices. The Zaya has a Mercurial Scimitar and her ultimate to keep her safe. The Kha'Zix has a Guardian Angel to stay in the fight. Cho'Gath is huge. 5,000 hit points, plus a Gargoyle Stormplate to pop when needed. And Rakan has his 20 billion dashes. Now, he doesn't need to engage, though, because they have all this damage from the super buffs. So he just lets his damage dealer slowly push their opponents off, and he focuses on Peel. Or at least that's what he should be doing. Ooh, that was so close. That's what the Kaisa wants to do, is the assassination on the damage dealer, but it's not happening. The buffs are too strong. What do I hope to see next game? Not the Maokai. Harder engage from both teams would be effective. I want to see a bruiser top lane as well, and I hope to see it. And I'm going to be ending it for this game. I will have this posted in about 20 minutes. That's how long it takes to upload. Thank you for watching, and leave any suggestions in the comments. Thank you, and have a good day.